Yo, everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to A2A Media. All right, so welcome back. So, those of y'all have already seen my first episode where I was dealing with the Hobbit, primarily the unexpected journey, the first movie. And I was dealing with the 6 chapters within the Hobbit. Again, if y'all want me to go through the whole thing, if y'all want me to go through the whole thing, I can and I will, but per request. So, because I don't want to waste my entire time dealing with just the whole book, since it was broken into 3 movies. Now, if it was just one movie and it was that, then it would be different. It would be, because I'll deal with it as such, but it's not. It's broken into 3 movies, which makes the breakdown that much longer. So if y'all want me to do that, then I will. But outside of that, what I want to do today is actually talk about episode numero dos. I want to talk about the second one. And y'all going to see a theme. I tend to like, let me be honest. I do like sci-fi, like I said inside of my episode, my actual first episode, which was the breakdown of what my channel will be about, the exploring stories that shape the world and whatnot. I mentioned that I love sci-fi and fantasy and things like that. So I am, excuse me if y'all hear that, I'm sorry. I am going to be dealing with another sci-fi, which Hobbit wasn't sci-fi. That was more of a medieval fantasy kind of thing. Ogre, orcs, wargs, goblins, giants, whatever, right? This is a sci-fi thing, but it's dealing on a level of a heist kind of level. This is by Andy Weir. A very popular author. A very popular author. You would think me reading, I'd be able to pronounce words better. I don't pronounce words well. I'm black. So, excuse me. All right, but anyways, I was making a joke. Andy Weir is the author, and he made this book called Artemis, right? So I want to deal with Artemis, and it happens to be one of those sci-fi books that deals with a lunar city made in, let's pull it up, and I want to do the sound effect, and
let's dig in.
I don't know if it came out right, but if it did, it's awesome. All right, so anyways, so this is Andy Weir's book called Artemis, right? And the point of Artemis, right? So I pulled it up on my end, and of course this is pre-recorded, so it's not like it's live. If it was live, then I'll be able to do picture in picture. But since it's not, then I just pulled it up and then I edited it in. Blah 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 blah. All right, so it was set in the 2060s. 2060s, or I think I actually saw where it mentioned 2080s. Either way, it's supposed to be 100 years after the Star Trek film was actually first made. That's what it was for, 100 years afterwards, because I already read it. By the way, I've already read it, or at least a good portion of it. I'm almost done with it. I'm organizing it right now, right? So it was set in the 2060s. Artemis is the first lunar city in a frontier town driven by tourism and specialized industry, operating as a lawless capitalistic haven similar to the Old West, which would they primarily be talking about America. And they're saying Old West because, again, it was 100 years after the time of Star Trek, and so it's making mention of America as the Old West, seeing that they're trying to colonize the moon, and then from the moon further, because Andy Weir also came out with a book called The Martian. I ain't digging into that yet, but I am going to get into another Andy Weir book series later on, closer to the summer. I have some big things I want to tell y'all all of the stuff I have waiting for you, but just know that the summer is going to be a busy time, and I can't wait to dig into it, which I got some series, shows, movies that are also coming out that was made from books that I also had to study in high school. And I can't wait to share it with you. And since it is coming out, I'm going to deal with the entire series. Not like I did with The Hobbit, but I'm going to deal with the entire series. I can't wait to deal with you. But anyways, let's dig in with Artemis. So it was talking about the Old West, and then it says, the story follows Jazz Bashara, which that's the main character, Jess. She's Arabian, as you actually would hear in the book if you read it. She's Arabic, or she's an Arab. A porter turned smuggler caught in a high-stakes conspiracy for control of the moon's economy. Now, the only reason why she was caught in high stakes is primarily because anything that typically would be normal here that you can get, like with shipping and handling, FedEx, Amazon, whatever the case is, brought to the moon, it'll be high stakes because it's dangerous. Things like flammables, hazmats, and things like that you get on the moon will be hazardous to them because it can cause the entire life of the moon. If it's a spoiler, then shame on you. But outside of that, because I don't. By the way, this channel we don't really care about spoilers. I'm gonna just be honest with you. I don't want to ruin the entire book for you, but I will say that I am going to say some things that might spoil some of the plot. I will say that. So if you don't like it, I'm sorry. Have mercy on me. I'm only a guy. I'm trying. So that doesn't make sense. It doesn't. Me being a guy doesn't matter. The gender doesn't matter about me actually ruining the story. But anyways, she was technically in the hood of the moon. I'm gonna get into it all the way because the story is great. This Andy Weir know what he doing. The story is great. So she was in the hood in the moon. And she wanted to be rich. The time set, because you would like to wonder, well, when is their sunrise and sunset? How do they base things off of that? They base it off of Kenya's, the country of Kenya. They base it off of their time zone. So, anyways, we're gonna get into that. And so the location, I'm giving you the lore of it. So I'm looking at it. Here it is right here. So it says the city of Artemis setting and background. So the location and purpose, it is the first and only city of the moon designed for tourists and billionaires because only the rich of the earth come to either tour there, or if they live, they have a separate city or portion or dome that they live under. And I'm gonna actually dig into that with some background stuff, and I'm gonna also dig into another more or less reaction video of a podcast that you may have heard of called Star Talk that talked about building up civilizations on the moon. And then Elon Musk has something that he's got going on with that right now. So this will be an interesting little case study that we can actually talk about with the book as far as it goes with fantasy, sci-fi, and mixing it into real world. So then you got the economy. So it says heavily reliant on tourism and resource production, specifically aluminum, which creates oxygen as a byproduct, which they have a massive corporation that creates primarily all of their oxygen. Big thing. The governance acts like a Wild West town, right? With loose law enforcement, is a place where you can get away with things not allowed on Earth. So things that's normal on Earth would be unallowed there, but also things that are unallowed on Earth would be normal there. So it's very vice versa, right? The population is around 2,000. The origins of it is an insight from Kenya economic minister Nguchi. I don't know how to say the name. Even when I heard it, I couldn't pronounce it right. So have mercy on me. Leveraging space industry growth. So anyways, and then now that being said, I'm not gonna get too much into it. I just want to really kind of dig into what the second episode would be about, just so I can give you a little bit more as to what's coming out. So the thing is, Andy Weir, he also is the author of a series that you all might know that's on Amazon called The Expanse, right? I did just say that I'm also talk about another series that he had later on and closer toward the summer. And yes, The Expanse is on the agenda. But when? I'm not going to tell you when. I have quite a few different things that I'm going to touch on before I get into The Expanse. But that's later on, because I do have other different novels and different genres that I am going to dive into before I get there. But we are going to talk about The Expanse because The Expanse has a very heavy plot to it. I love the plot of The Expanse. It does start off slow, I have to admit. It does start off slow, but once it really picks up, then for sure it picks up. I'm gonna tell you, it picks up. So now Artemis, it has a movie that is planned to come out, but it has nothing yet. So I'm gonna just read what this says here. It says an Artemis movie based on Andy Weir's lunar heist novel was in development with directors Phil Lord and Chris Miller and screenwriter Geneva Robinson Dwart. Attached at the 20th Century Fox, now Disney, but his status is uncertain following the Disney-Fox merger, and no recent major updates through Ware's other novel, Project Hail Mary, which is going into The Expanse, which is not just a show from the book, but now is about to become a game. And I plan to release the episode before the game comes out, by the way. Has a film adaptation starring Ryan Gosling in development. The film would follow Jazz Bashara, a smuggler in the moon's first city who gets involved in a major conspiracy. This video provides an overview of the book, blah, blah, blah. All right, so it was a video that was made by Vox, and then you actually see it from there. So anyways, I do plan on talking about the book Artemis. I want to dig into it. I want to give you all a little bit of the lore. It is something to where it had five dome areas within the moon where it became a moon city, right? We are going to dig into a reaction video that was dealing with Neil deGrasse Tyson, where he actually talked about what he had a host that was on there that was going into moon cities, and we're going to deal with that. And yes, by the way, something that's very subtle, if you didn't notice it, the color on the background, like for example, when I do my regular episodes, the color typically is like this, right? But if I'm having in-between episodes or if I'm getting serious, then I might change it to red. So some of y'all may have noticed the small difference, those of you who actually pay attention to the very subtle things. Then yes, episodes like this, I will make sure I have different color changes so you'll know what kind of episode this is based off of such. And maybe in the future, I'll change my thumbnails to whatever that might be. Or I'll have my thumbnails just as you see it now, and then you'll see it like that later on once you come into it. Like, okay, I know what kind of video this is. Outside of that, we are going to dig into Andy Weir's book, and I did get another book that was donated to me. More on that later, because that's going to be episode hopefully 3, and it's going to be big. It's something that's been popping off ever since 2023 is when it actually dropped, and it's a series of 3-book series, but I'm gonna deal with the first book, and I can't wait to deal with it with you. And Andy Weir, he's up next. Stay tuned for that. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Like, comment, make sure you get the engagement going, share it to your friends, family, whomever else, those of y'all who all like to read books. And you also have books that you want to recommend. I'd love to talk about the books that you want to recommend. Also, as well, donate to the channel. The channel actually, or donations to the channel actually helps me to be able to get the books that you all require. And yes, I will spend the money on the books that you actually recommend. I will spend the money on the books that you recommend. But any extra funds that come in outside of that will go towards the channel's health. And you'll not only see, because based off how you see how it is here, it'll also upgrade as your donations pick up. So donate, subscribe, share. And if you are on TikTok currently and you are seeing a short based off of this, come to YouTube, type in on your search bar archive to action, and then when you do that, then you'll be able to see me on YouTube, because that is the primary source of social media that I personally choose. I will post updates on TikTok, but TikTok has been acting funny, and also I'll also primarily outside of TikTok, I'll make a lot of different news-based things that I do on Twitter, or X rather, and you'll see me post often on there, but my main social media that I choose is YouTube. So outside of that, y'all go ahead, follow me, subscribe, donate, support. Episode 2 coming on the way. Andy Weir's book is up next, and then after that, I have a surprise for you for episode 3. All right, A2A out.